Nicole and I met about a month ago. I was having lunch with a friend, and she mentioned that she was about to begin a course to undo limiting beliefs and rewrite subconscious scripts. I was immediately interested. Now 4 weeks into the 5-week course, I can confidently confirm that Nicole is an exceptional intuitive coach. The clarity of her understanding and exceptional ability in communicating complex concepts inspires me. In less than a month, I feel massive shifts in my life thanks to Nicole's guidance. I felt compelled to have this conversation because everyone I mention her to lights up with curiosity, and so I thought it would be a great opportunity to get to know her firsthand. I hope you find this conversation uplifting and insightful. One of my favorite things to do is to celebrate people that I appreciate. And I really appreciate getting to know you. And I notice that without saying very little about you and the process that I'm going through, facilitated by you, like everybody's like, can you please send me the information? I'm super interested in hearing what you're going through and getting to know you. So yeah, so
awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, my pleasure.
And and also so as you know, my work is about connection, and it's my journey as well as my teaching. And
love how those go hand in hand, always, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in the process of going through this workshop with you, I felt really called to go on a connection challenge, to put myself through a challenge of just doing different exercises that helped me to develop a deeper connection with myself. And from there in my relationships and in my creativity. And so I really wanted to honor you for that. And also I wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about your story and kind of what brought you to this place and what kind of you see is possible with the work that you're doing, and yeah, I guess what this calling is for you.
Cool. It's a long story, but I'll make it not too long.
Okay.
The work that
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, honey? Yeah? Just a bit of editing. Yes, what shall I text him? What I love about this work is that I have been. I love you too. What I love so much about this work is that I've been on the other side of it. So I discovered this work when I was in my depths of despair and hopelessness that finally had me to my knees in surrender. And what that looked like for me was having a large clothing company. It was all ethical and sustainable. Being a single mother, since my boy, he's not a baby anymore, was 8 months old, and just really constantly trying to do more, be more, create more, be a good person in the world, be successful, be a really good mom, be a good friend, but all with this pressure that was essentially running from this feeling of not being enough, of being scared, of being unlovable. And as you know, it's never enough. It doesn't matter how hard you push or how fast you run, it's never enough to heal that. And for me, it showed up in physical ailment. My adrenals collapsed. I found lumps in my breasts, and it really woke me up to how much stress I had created in my life, and had me finally go, okay, even though I'm meditating, even though I'm doing yoga, doing all the right things, eating healthy, how did I create such a stressful life that feels void of any joy? And there must be a better way. And so from there, I found Dr. Divi, who's an intuitive coach in Vancouver, where I'm from. And she helped me to uncover these unconscious beliefs that I was holding on to that were navigating this life and propelling this feeling of, okay, is it enough now? Am I enough now? Have I almost And with her guidance, eventually was able to connect with what my soul knows is that I'm already enough. And when I was able to connect with that and embody that and accept that and receive that, then I asked myself, well, then what do I want life to look like? Then what am I meant to be doing? And it was all very serendipitous in that the clothing company I had before, the mantra was I'm love. And I've always had this knowingness that our true essence is pure love. And that maybe we're here on this planet to figure out how to come from love in all the facets of our lives. And before it was kind of attached to this ethical clothing company. But for me, it always felt like I had so much more to offer. And I couldn't quite see the way, the path. And in this process of surrender, of letting go, and asking myself, okay, if I'm free of all the rules, then what? If I'm free because I'm already enough, already lovable, then what? And just actually listening to what my soul already knew. And at the time, I had heard of a school here in Bali. I'd never been to Bali, ever. But this school called the Green School had been calling me, and because all of my bank loans for my business were on me personally, I was going through also personal bankruptcy, and I thought, what better thing to do than to move to Bali? So I scooped up my 8-year-old son, and we moved to Bali, and at the same time, Dr. Divi said, hey, I'm going to start teaching people and certifying people how to do the work that I do. And in the state I was in at that time, I said, I'll never be a coach, but this work is working for me, so let's keep going. And I signed up for the year certification program, and in the process actually began to see it was the very thing I've been meaning to do, that it was like every step leading to. And when I got here, everything began to flow. Because of the work, yes, being in Bali, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, there you are. And being in Bali definitely allowed me to reinvent myself in whatever way. There was no preconceived perception of me here. I could be whoever I felt called to be. And I came here and started hosting talks, and then they wanted more, and then they wanted programs, and then their friends wanted more, and private sessions, and I completely surrendered and just let it flow as it was meant to. And now it's I totally support us with it, and we built this wellness space that we're in right now. It's a space that is centered in wellness and bringing the community together around that, and built it with my partner, who I met the second week that we were here in Bali.
Wow.
Same day that we adopted our puppies that you love so much. And now we have another baby coming. Yeah. So it was really cool for me to feel the difference from when am I, beating my head against the wall from this place of essentially fear, and what does it feel like to step into trust and flow and witness how the universe just supports you, and what it feels like to have ease, something I hadn't experienced before. And all through shifting my beliefs and healing the beliefs at the core. So it's cool because now I get to guide others in the process that I have been through and continue to go through, right? We never really finish. And it's like magic every day. It's always an honor. It never feels like work. It's such a beautiful thing to get to do and live and experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I really connect so much with your journey, but also like it feels like everything that's like comes out of your mouth are things that I have either I share with other people or I've said or I think, and I feel so much resonance.
Awesome.
So that's really, really nice to feel that, oh wow, like there's somebody that like I really get and that I can sense gets me.
Yeah, awesome.
So I really appreciate that, and I'm also here building. I didn't plan on coming here, and before I knew it, I was building a wellness institute, which is at the beginning of its journey, and it's all about creating. But for me, it's framed around connection and how to foster nurturing communities. And I feel like the foundation of that is connection, first with ourselves and then within our relationships. So, so I'm just a little bit curious about what like if I was to just give you that prompt of like connection, like what does that mean for you, and what is like your journey into connection? And it's quite a big word, so yeah.
Totally. It's such a beautiful journey, a beautiful feeling and experience when you get to that space of awareness of like the ultimate connection, that, and it's said so loosely, but when you actually really experience, you really feel it. But that sense of oneness, that we are all actually one. And whether we acknowledge it or not, we are all connected. And for me personally, the process in really feeling that level of connection where you almost become nothing. It's like you're everything and nothing all at the same time, was to first heal the connection I had with myself through healing the connection that I had with others. And it was seeing and healing those relationships that I had around me that ultimately came always to, how am I with myself? Am I being unconditionally loving? Am I being accepting and supportive? Am I being compassionate? Am I allowing and letting go instead of being in fear and controlling? And so it's kind of like, I felt like there was such gift in the relationships that were around me, and feeling they were serving such purpose in me ultimately healing this one with myself. And then when I learned to truly love, connect, accept myself, then all those relationships also flourished. And then you can keep kind of going, like, bigger and outside of yourself, and seeing how we're connected to the planet, and the trees, and how everything is related, even out to the cosmos. And you can go as far as feels comfortable. And in that, I love this idea that we are so unique and important, and yet so insignificant at the same time. And especially when you zoom out like that, and you think of this lifetime, how tiny it is in the grand scheme of the lifespan of this planet, and like a grain of sand, with all the other people and souls that are out there, and yet you wouldn't have the beach if you didn't have each and every grain of sand. So just feeling the dichotomy of both, how important and yet insignificant you are, is really humbling, and for me feels that connection. And that's kind of talking maybe big picture, but in my day-to-day, it helps me be more connected with my kid, be more present with my husband, be more patient, loving, and understanding to the people that are important in my life, whether they're my family or even just someone you're passing on the street. It really comes down to those individual moments of how we are with others because of how we are with ourselves. Yeah.
Wow. So I have a couple of other things that came up as you were talking. So I am fascinated with this idea of creating from a place of wholeness.
Yeah.
And I personally have this vision that is the vehicle for how we can transform our lives and humanity. And at the same time, I also hold this belief that life has no meaning except for the meaning we choose to create.
Totally.
And so I'm recognizing that more and more today, more and more people are in this interesting juxtaposition of wanting more autonomy and individuality, and what's my purpose, why am I here, and also this craving for connection, for community, for this oneness. And so in saying all of that, what are your thoughts?
It's interesting how this sort of spiritual path that we are on can sometimes translate in this inflation of a sense of self. And there's that kind of balance between when am I, and you said the word whole, and for me, wholeness, creating from a place of wholeness, is creating from a place of alignment, where our thoughts are in alignment to our soul, and therefore our action is also all in alignment. And that is that feeling of wholeness. When we are in that deep alignment, ego doesn't have a place. And when I say ego, I mean that sense of self, of identifying yourself as a something, and really holding on to something outside of this alignment. And the more and more for myself that I'm in alignment, anytime ego or fear pops in, it brings me out of alignment. And so I know that when I'm in alignment, I'm so humbled. And to me, God or spirit, whatever word you want there, is humble. It's not needing to be the star of the show. It's not needing to have great purpose. And yet, there can be a calling in this lifetime for us to be of service. But if we allow our ego to take hold of the reins and go, okay, well, we went from needing to like be big CEO to now needing to be of great spiritual purpose. It's the same shadow or fear, just wearing a different costume. And it is a beautiful thing to be of service, to answer the call. And there's no better calling. Like, his calling isn't better than her calling. Maybe her calling is, in our society, looks small. But the way, I really think of many of the Balinese friends that I have, in how they just practice in the simplest things every day. I even think of my husband, who he doesn't need to be the star of the show, but how he shows up in life, in every little moment, in every little thing he does. He brings that same sense of wholeness, of alignment, and it's so humble and so powerful. So wherever he goes, he's gifting that, and he's not out there teaching people, he's not looking for praise, he just is. He doesn't have all these fancy words like we do, from the West, like of all the talk and right things to say, and it's easy sometimes for us, though our quest is meaning to be right, with the right intention, that sometimes we can get caught up in this, it's got to be big, it's got to be meaningful, purposeful. And that can bring us out of alignment rather than really listening. What is it that just feels right in this moment? One thing that I'm grateful for in my own process is anytime ego shows up, it disconnects me. And so I have to constantly stay humble, stay in this moment, not go too far. Otherwise, I lose that connection. That connection, the ultimate connection, right? Just to the oneness. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, and have a good rest of your day with your boys.
Yeah. Thanks.
And preparing them dinner.